All right, Matt. So, do you feel like this could be the answer for you?
Are you coming here now? Yeah. Yeah, man, it feels like it could be good to go. It sort of sounds like, you know, potentially what I'm looking for. I think at this stage.
Right. Well, why do you think it is though?
Well, I think that the way that, you know, the program's shaped and I guess the support that we get, I think that it could really work.
And why is the support aspect important to you now though?
I think I've been trying it for a while, and you know, just kind of want to be able to. I think with the right, I guess, boost or the right people keeping us accountable and having that person to ask, I think that would be really beneficial to the business.
Right. That makes sense. And do you feel like, based on what we've discussed, like having that accountability, having that support network of someone actually holding your hand every step of the way, like do you feel like this is going to get you from where you are to, you know, where you want to be in the next 12 months?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. You know what I mean? I think it definitely could benefit us. I think, you know, I think if we can make sure that we have the time set aside and obviously the budget and everything that works, I think it could really do what we needed to do.
Right, and then like when you say the time set aside, like you just don't sound too certain there. Can you tell me what you mean by that?
Yeah, obviously, like a lot of moving parts in business, want to make sure that we can utilize everything to the best degree, and yeah, just make sure that, you know, if we do this, we do it 100%.
Yeah, for sure, and you know, if you're not going to do it 100%, well, yeah, you're definitely not going to get the results, right? But I guess when it comes to the time
out for a second.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing to say. Why'd you say that?
What did I just say? I can't remember.
If you're not going to do it 100%, you're not going to get a result. How does that benefit you in the long run?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
People don't. Nobody do things.
You can't do any 100%.
No.
Yeah. All right. Good point.
You know? So like, what you know, I always challenge that perspective.
Okay. Great.
And I say like, well, you know, like, I guess I understand, but there's so many. We are being pulled in different directions. Like, can you give 100% to your kids? Can you give 100% to your business?
Nice.
The answer is no. But you know, all we can really try and do is put ourselves in the best position to be able to succeed. And you know, I'm a big believer in, hey man, doing it at 50% is better than 0, right?
Yeah.
I get the buy-in on that, and then I go back.
Good.
Right, because I don't want them to commit to doing something 100% because I'm putting an obstacle in their way.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I just realized what I was trying to do there, right?
Yeah, we try to.
I was trying to logic trap you by going down the route, because in my pitch I say, in your first 90 days, our aim is to get you an extra 10 to 15 hours back in time. So I'm trying to sell you on the logic of actually doing this gets you back more time.
Yeah.
But I've never thought of it from that way. So that makes so much sense.
Well, the way I would have done it at the time, right? They were talking about time rejection.
Time, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's roll it. I like it.
Yeah.
So I'm doing you.
Yeah, I'll be the yeah.
All right. So I mean, we pretty much cover all the basic of how the program works, and also for help you with your cell structure, as you mentioned. I guess like overall, like how do you feel about the structure though?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Though, like, do you feel this could be the answer for you though?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. I think obviously there's, you know, I have to look into it a little bit more deeply, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess we can definitely do that. But I guess like why originally you felt that way though?
Yeah, I guess like obviously you guys have, you know, proven success, and you know, the structure has worked for other people. So
and if you feel that we've proven success, I guess like what it helps you have to do that put deeply inside. So, but just to see if I can help though.
Yeah, I guess that.
Got it.
I'm looking for an excuse.
Yeah,
I guess.
Fine, move inside.
Yeah, you know, I think the real thing is I just want to, like, you know, it's one of those things where I just need to really sit down and make sure that it's going to work for me right now, because, you know, like, I don't have that many leads, and I just want to make sure that.
I mean, I didn't know you were standing, so but I just want to give you an hard time. I guess like when you mentioned sit down, just for understand really the thought process that you have, like give me an idea, like what's the equation that you're looking for that can guide you, they can actually get you to do it either today, tomorrow, or next month. Like what's the main element you're looking for?
I guess I just want to make sure that that I can really, it's going to work for me.
Right. I mean, and we all want to do that. But, so you're looking for clarity, right?
Yeah.
And that's your own perspective.
Yeah.
But you're going saying, oh, like what clarity really looks like. Like if tomorrow you want to go to the beach, you're never gonna know how it looks like until you actually get there, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm asking
I'm going to go to the Weather Channel.
So what I'm asking is like, what's the parameter that actually is gonna get you to understand if it works for you?
Yeah, I guess there isn't one. I guess I can't know.
You can know until you don't.
What's that?
You cannot know it until you don't.
Until I do it.
Right. So let's look into it. I guess like why you feel that you have to know if it works before you actually try it.
Yeah, I guess because it's a big investment, so I want to make I know I can never know for sure, but it's a big investment, so I want to make sure that I guess I'm investing my money in the right area.
And that's not a problem. Now we can talk about the investment, and we can talk about also the clarity if it works or not. Now let's go first on the investment, right? When you mention it's a lot in compared to what actually?
I guess in compared to less, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
In compared to less, but instead of looking, and I show you this as a different perspective, like if I'm coming from the sales side of the table that you are, right? Give me an idea, like, does it really matter how much we put down if what is going to give us back is what you're exactly looking for, or either close?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I can put in 1 and get out 10, it's a no-brainer.
So it comes down to the perspective you see, like you were saying before, right? So you're seeing the perspective that you're carrying around is like you want to look into clarity if you want to do it or not, even if it works for yourself, but you're never gonna know why, because right now you're looking more about what you're putting down rather than what you're gonna gain later, which is all a consequence. Yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah. So what he did really well there was shape me directly into the one that he wanted me to handle.
Yeah.
Right. So I think to me that's the key to super high quality objection handling is putting me in that funnel of like you're gonna handle it. You're actually giving me this objection.
Yeah.
And then you get them to believe that that's the objection, which essentially it is, and then you get really good at handling it the one way.
Yeah, that's good, man. Nice.
Yeah, that was tough. I wouldn't. I was trying to mental gymnastics my way out of it, but it was a tough one. So because I was put into a box where it was like I had to agree on facts, and the facts are you never know someone's going to work until you do it. So if you're consistently making decisions with that perspective, you can never do anything. Yeah. So that's why I like that perspective reframe so much, because it's so easy for you to play with. Yeah. And you can take any decision that they're making, and you can just kind of loop it around to what you want it to be. Yep. The interruptions were really good. Like that's a really key thing. Like stopping the person from finishing the thought pattern. Yep. Want to sit down, buddy? I'm doing a round table. But I think like. So do you want to go again?
Yeah, still.
Yeah, go again.
So Matt, I guess, do you feel like this could be the answer for you?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think at this stage, I really want to make sure have a good 24 hours.
Yeah. Why do you think it could be the answer for you though?
Yeah. Well, I guess. You guys seem to have a proven track record. You kind of know what you're doing from everything that you've laid out.
Yeah, but besides all the proven track record, besides our history of doing this for many years, like besides all that flashy stuff, like based on what I discussed, what do you think is the most benefit for you getting from where you are to where you want to go?
Yeah, I think it's that accountability that you get.
And like, why is having that accountability, why is that important to you now?
Yeah, I think it's just really about making sure that we have the right people guiding us, and obviously we've made some mistakes in the past, which is why I don't want to make mistakes again in the future. And so
right, for sure. And I guess how would you know that you do have the right people guiding you?
Yeah, go to the trap. Yeah. I guess I guess it's just about people who have gone down the road before, right? The best navigator is the one that can just tell you what potholes to miss,
Right, and I guess we all kind of see things from our own perspective, right? So is that the perspective that you have in order to get where you need to go? You need to know that the person guiding you has essentially done it before?
Yeah, I think that makes it a lot easier for me to kind of, you know, go forward with the knowledge that's going to work.
Right. So, like based on what you've seen here, I guess, like, do you feel like having someone that's been there, done that, and held other people by the hand, like, do you feel like someone helping somebody else means you're going to get there?
A bit lost. Are you lost?
Yeah, I'm a bit lost.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it back to...
Yeah, I think what happened is...
Did you trap me? And
a little bit, yeah. I threw out a couple of rakes and you stepped on one of them.
Yeah.
Okay. But you used the perspective reframe too early.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to like come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Of this little, okay, so like, because you can, that's totally fine to have someone, like what I said is totally fine. Like, okay, that makes sense. You feel like if you have someone there holding your hand who's been there, done that, you feel like you can be successful. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, and you know what I mean? So that's fine because that's what the coaching is people who have helped and guide. So there's really no downside to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would then go like, I would try and get more specifics about like what the hand holding looks like.
Yeah.
Right? And then like, do you feel like you have that within this from what I explained to you? Kind of go in depth and try and get more buy-in. Then ask for the sale.
Yep.
Then go for the perspective reframe. Otherwise, you're kind of handling something that hasn't happened yet.
Okay,
and then you put yourself in a spot where now you have to like double speak yourself.
Yep.
And then I pick up on what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can I give you a suggestion?
Please.
Write it down. Like I write down things that I know that I'm going to use, right?
Yeah.
Just like, for example, before you were talking about clarity, it's like, welcome to my world. Talking about clarity is something that doesn't exist. Because you dictate clarity, right? So I put down CL, which is clarity. I was like, okay, that's no problem. That is what I'm going to talk about. So I'm more fairly concentrated. But sometimes you might go like, well, we don't have the money because we need to go in an hour here. And it goes like, so it's so fast for interrupt that I have to start writing things down very quick.
Yeah.
But at least I know what I'm talking about because otherwise you just overcome.
Yeah.
The last things you had,
and
it's never the right one, right?
Yeah. I think what you did is you tried to use something.
Yeah.
So you had a hammer and you were looking for a nail.
Yeah, pretty much.
Makes sense, right? Yeah. So I'll kind of show you. I'll sell. I don't know. I'll sell you.
Yeah.
If you want, and I'll finish with the pitch. But all right, Anthony. So does that does that structure that I put together, does that kind of make sense for you?
Yeah. It makes sense.
And is there anything? I guess does that feel like it could, like as a whole, does it feel like it could be the answer for you at the moment?
Yeah, I think it definitely could.
Is there any particular reason like why you feel that way?
I think the support element and having a coach I can speak to every 90 days to give me a new plan. Yeah, I think that's going to work for me. I really just want to have it 24 hours. I'd say just to make sure that is the support.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess is there anything besides what you just said? Is there anything specific that you feel like is like the key to the castle for you to make sure that you're confident you can get from where you are to where you want to go? Just
knowing that it works essentially, and just knowing that other people are getting the results from it. I would say.
Okay, so the specifics of what I've gone through, you feel like those testimonials, and I guess just the knowledge that there's a lot of people who have kind of walked the path before you is what you feel like is going to give you the confidence to move forward.
Yeah, just someone to turn to when I run into a challenge. So I know it's going to happen, and I'm going to run into a roadblock. Just knowing that someone's going to be there to help guide me when I hit those obstacles.
Okay, and kind of hold you accountable. Maybe slap you around a little bit, make sure that you kind of.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think it's important to know as well. Like when we're going into a coaching situation, right? Like it's important for us to kind of have the understanding that like. Coaching is easy when it's easy. Do you know what I mean? But coaching can be hard when it's hard. And our job is to be kind of like a velvet sledgehammer. You know what I mean? And we're here to kind of guide you. And it's like, man, when it's all good, we're all fucking high fives and bum taps, right? But when it's bad and when you get tired and when it's like, quotes are piling up and this is happening, like, and you stop doing the things that are putting you on the path to get you where you want to go, that's where we come in and we actually go to work. And we use that sledgehammer, that crowbar, to realign you back on track. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just before we go any further, I just want to make sure that you're actually open and okay with being held accountable in that manner.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, any reason why?
Well, I need it. I haven't been able to do this in 10 years, so I need to change something.
Okay, yeah, that sort of makes sense. So from here, dude, I don't have much else for you. All we really need to do is organize a payment. We can do that with a credit or a debit card. It's totally up to you. Then from there, we organize your onboarding. We get you introduced to your coach. We put you into the program, and we actually start the process of freeing up your time and, God forbid, putting you in a position where you can take a holiday with your family. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, man, that sounds perfect. So I think if you just contact me in 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days.
Then we'll kind of just get things going then. But this all sounds good.
Okay, awesome. And just so I'm clear, like, what is it that you want to kind of address over the next 48 hours?
I just make decisions that way. You know, I've given me a lot to go through here. I just want to make sure that I make the right decision.
And just are you, like, I guess, it's kind of a cheesy question, but scale of 1 to 10. 1 being like unhappy and sort of really wanting to make a change, and 10 being like this is your ideal lifestyle. Where are you at with your business right now?
Probably a 4.
A 4? Okay, that makes sense. And I guess, do you feel like, and I hate the word mindset, do you feel like that kind of mindset can kind of, I guess, shape the way that we make decisions?
Definitely.
And are you happy to allow the mindset that's gotten you over the last 10 years to be a 4 in your business to continually shape your results and your outcome moving forward?
No.
Why not?
So one more.
What does that mean?
You know, I'm 50, just turned 50 years old, and
you look great.
I do that.
For 50. yeah.
Something in my coffee.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, just turned 50, and you know, I want more out of my life, and that's why I'm speaking.
Yeah. And so if that decision-making process that's defaulting you right now to want to wait, which I understand, right? Because we all make decisions based on our perspective. The problem is, if we constantly make decisions based off our current perspective, it's very difficult for us to put ourselves in a better position, right? So if I can kind of explain, if you picture yourself on an island surrounded by water, right? You're there, like you're on an island, and it's 17.1 nautical miles around you, and all you can see is water. Every single decision that you make is going to be based off the fact that you're on an island surrounded by water, right? Now, the problem is, in order to kind of see the world for what it is, to be able to get the view, the penthouse view or whatever, we have to be, I don't know, like somewhere high, like on top of a mountain or something, right? So, the decisions that you make on top of Everest, given the fact that your input is so much greater, is going to be different than the guy that's just surrounded by water. And there's a couple of really difficult choices that need to be made to get from the guy who's down there with limited perspective to the guy who's up there with unlimited perspective, right? And they're really hard. And this is why this is all part of the process. And I'm trying to hold you accountable to that process, right? So step 1 is that you have to believe the mountain's there. And you're here, so we can tick that box. So well done. You've taken the first step.
Right.
The second one is it's picking a direction. It's incredibly difficult to do because you can't see it, right? And so it'd be like bungee jumping blindfolded.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a scary decision. At the end of the day, you're still strapped in, you're good to go. It's no different whether you're blindfolded or whether you can see. It's just a perception thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the third and most difficult is, once you pick the direction, is to actually start walking. And most people, and if you were on that island, you would just see a lot of people on the edge of that island. You know what I mean? But they don't make the commitment to actually start walking, because that's the scary part. Because what if you drown? And you might. Do you know what I mean? But the only thing that I can know is that the only way that we can put ourselves in the best position to be able to get to the mountain is just to start fucking walking, bro. So let me ask you a question. What do you need to do to put yourself in the best position to be able to work less hours, start prioritizing your family, and actually start moving on this?
Gotta do it, man.
You gotta do it?
Gotta do it.
You gotta do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Just do it. Let's go.
Let's go. Sweet. Let's do it.
Good.
Yeah, that puts people in a tough spot.
Go.
And then from there, if you were to go back through another objection,
yeah,
I would go through, okay, that makes sense. I would then kind of talk to them about that decision-making process. I would then loop it back around to, so what do you need to do to put yourself in the best position to be able to? And then I would insert a more definite goal. See how I kept it quite vague?
Yeah.
The next goal would be really defined, and it would be to get to that 30-hour work week, to stop spending an extra 30 hours, right? Which, if you have a look at that, is a full work week every single week.
Yeah.
That's 48 weeks a year that you're not spending with your family. That's 1 year every year. When your kid is 40, you would have missed out on a minimum of 20 years of their life. So what do you need to do to make sure that you're actually there, doing the things you need to do, not just sitting up at 11 o'clock at night doing quotes? Right? Then I can reframe them again. And the last one, which is like the Hail Mary, is like, what do you need to do so that when you go to bed tonight, you know you're in the best position to be able to be the best dad, the best leader, the best this, and actually, for God fucking sake, do something about your problems. And that's like when they really pitch themselves and then they go, fuck, I have to do it. Like, and they get it, like, they have to do it.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah.
So see how, like, so I kind of monologue or railroad you a bit.
Yeah.
I get you to agree to my perspective. I get you to agree to my basics. And then I just fucking railroad you.
Yep.
With like an analogy. And I say it in a very specific way and just like get buy-in the whole time.
Yep.
And try and keep the engagement.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And also, I feel, to be honest with you, I feel like his style is more congruent with the yours because he has an authority. I was like, he doesn't need to say an authority frame, but he sets it up like really high. I can feel it.
How do you
I've done sales calls with him.
Yeah.
How do you shift if they're not giving you that constant agreement in your questions?
You could just like, I mean, it's, to be honest, it's never happened.
Okay.
Everyone's pretty on board because like we all make decisions based on our perspective. Everyone can agree with that. Like it's hard to say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I preambled that with the mindset. Right? So based off like, it would all be different based off what you were telling me. I was like, sweet, this stinks of a think is to think about it. And it's, you know what I mean? There was no money, no nothing. It was straight think about it. So I was like, right, how do I drop the sledgehammer on this as fast as possible? And so it's like, if I can get them to agree that their decision-making process has caused them to be where they are. Now, if you would have said something like a 7, if you'd have gone, well, I'm a 7, I would have gone, okay, if you're a 7, can you explain to me what a 10 is? The 10 would have been a huge gap, and I would have gone, fuck, dude, if that's a 10 and you're a 7, like that's not a very big gap. What the fuck is a 6? Right? And they go, oh, I guess you're right, I'm more of a 4. I go, all right, cool. How much longer do you want to be a fucking 4? Right? So it allows me to kind of like drop the hammers on them. And I get, so like I'm setting up like 3 or 4 doors behind me that I'm just closing, and each door is getting me like another few feet towards the finish line. So that one works really well, the 1 to 10 one.
Yeah. Because
I was like, like I felt like if I just went into the island analogy straight away, like I didn't have enough, because I didn't have the sales call to back onto. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when you're going straight into role play, like kind of in order to give you less outs, I need to really shut all the doors. You know, whereas if you've done consequence questions, you could maybe skip some of those steps. But if you feel like someone is giving you really wishy-washy stuff, that 1 to 10 thing is super powerful. Really, really smash them on that. Like, where are you, dude? Like, with your life and your relationship and what you're getting right now, where are you 1 to 10? And do you feel like mindset can affect decision-making? Sweet. And do you want that decision-making process, the mindset that you have, to shape your results moving forward? No, I don't. Why not? Okay, perfect. You know what I mean? And then I can go straight into my perspective. Well, that, you know, makes sense because we're all making decisions based on our perspective. Sweet, straight into an analogy, and I'm pretty much good to go. Like, not many people get into those analogies and get out. I reckon I've had 1 or 2 people that haven't said yes once I've gotten all the way through that sequence.
Yeah,
it's powerful.
It's good.
What would you do in that case if someone said, great, because I've been getting a few of these, and it's probably preempting it, but a few people saying, great, can I have a look at the contract, or what can you show me? I've got competitors showing me, for Amazon, for example.
Right. Well, I guess, like, give me an idea, like, what would you like to see in the contract?
Just to make sure that you guys are saying what you do, and, you know, maybe some guarantees.
Let's say different to what I had right now. Different from what I said on this meeting. Like, what would you like to see different?
Oh, just that everything that you're saying, that I can verify it in writing, because it's all good. This is what I got.
Well, okay, that makes total sense. And I guess, like, why would you expect something different, though?
Oh, well, look, I've been in the case before. I trust you, Mark, and I've had a good call, but, you know, I don't want to be in a spot where what you say is not reflecting reality. So I'd like to see it documented.
Okay, right, that makes sense. Where, if you don't mind, out of curiosity, where are you getting that from?
It's just the way I've always had the yeah, you go. Yeah, keep going. Yeah. So I've always it's just the way I do business, right? So I need to see everything written down. I've had people in the past that said, they promised the world.
Ah, right. So you're using experience and medical judgment.
Yeah, but
Right.
definitely.
That makes
And
total sense.
it's a congruency thing to make sure that I'm ticking the boxes that I need to. It's just how I've
Right.
been. Yeah.
So, I mean, having a nice level of congruency is great. So, I really appreciate you saying that. Now, you mentioned, though, like you had a kind of experience in the past. Now, let me ask, though, like, since that experience, like, how that experience been affecting your decision-making process?
Oh, it's just made me. It's actually made me more clever, more things that I haven't done things that I'm glad I didn't because the details weren't there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's protected me from making some decisions that if I did that decision, if I jumped into it,
Right.
I would have gone. It actually would have been bad for me in the
But
decision.
that's your perspective, right?
That's exactly what I've experienced.
Well, what if I show you another kind of not perspective, but a kind of I make a suggestion. What if like the decision making process or something doesn't really change the way how things are? And I give you an example, right? Like say it as the gold rush, like a business opportunity like Amazon and this kind of things works like this. If you would have done it 5 years ago, right now your ROI is will be 3x would be 10x. Right? So if you would have been thinking about it 10 years ago and you would have done it today, technically you would have lost a 7x in that. What I'm trying to get to the point with this one, there is always two types of people, right? The first person is that one that goes for it. Doesn't matter. Contract agreement is a commitment level or changing what doesn't work, which is the most important aspect of getting results, right? And after there is the 48 hours guy. You always come 48 hours late. You always come a week late, 1 year late, a month late. Why? Because he has to be able to find commitment in something that is far away from what he's done. So you making a decision for your own business, it's not dictated by a piece of paper. It's dictated right on your level of commitment of changing things. So what I'm asking you is this, is like, do you want to be the guy that comes with 48 hours of delay that is losing a 2x or 3x, or you want to be actually the guy that is willing to change something that doesn't work? That's the reality of things. After, if the paper are not the way how you want it, we can change it. But what I'm looking for is commitment. So the real question is, are you committed to change though?
I'm definitely committed. That's why I'm definitely here.
Right. So if you're definitely committed to change, the first step is start making that change rather than say that you are. So if you're open to what we could do is generally draft down a deposit. Just forget that commitment, right? The deposit is generally 10% of the overall, so it's a 30K, so it will be 3K. Of course, it's fully refundable in based on what you've seen on the agreement. But at least you put yourself in a position where you go to bed tonight and say, I've done something. Rather than being like the second guy, which is like, I do it in 48 hours, maybe in 48 hours, I'm going to come late and they're going to get an ROI. Why? Because the guy that got the first place, the action taker, is that one that actually gets the result. Would you be open to that?
Yeah.
Now give me a hard time. Tell me no. Otherwise,
Well, look, I'm open to that, and I hear where you can't go. If you want me to be like I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to see something, right? Like I just find it odd. Hasn't anyone else asked you that they want to see some contracts or something documented before I just give a credit card?
Yeah,
I won't do that.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying that what you're saying is completely wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I agree at some sort of level.
Yeah.
Maybe we're talking about two different metrics because the perception that you have is more likely, okay, I want to be able to see something, forget and do what I want to do. What I'm talking about is like, I would love from you to have the commitment on your own goals.
Yeah.
Because that's the most important things for get actually to our results. Because if you're not committed to change, then I'm the first one that tells you, man, don't do it.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, like I want to do it. I just want to see.
Right. So if you really want to do it,
yeah.
What do you feel is the best next step for you beside the agreement?
Well, the next step, if I can't see the agreement, that's where I'm
beside the agreement.
Beside it. There's nothing else stopping it apart from the aspect. That's it.
Right. So what I think I would suggest, like I was saying before, is I will send you the agreement over, right? Either like straight away after the call. It's just the logistic of it. You know how this internet thing goes on. Just the idea of being able to put a foot inside the door, because it gets you into a position where you actually getting committed to where you want. Would you be open to that?
Yeah.
Right. What about?
Come on, man.
Why are you laughing?
It's amazing.
I think
hearing that on the other end, like it's incredible. Like the level of skill here is just blows me away.
I think one thing as well is make sure you never say the word contract.
Yeah.
It's terms of service.
Yeah. Service agreement I use.
Yeah, like otherwise it's.
If I say contract, I made a big mistake. I've drummed that in. Yeah, service agreement. It's a big
Agreement. Yeah.
It's just an agreement. And at that point, it's those stubborn pricks that you get that go, man, I just want to look like.
Yeah.
Hearing how
but you say it's a
Are you on
stop.
Zoom now?
Hmm?
You on Zoom? May I have a copy with you?
Yeah.
Just go boom.
I have a copy with
Yeah.
you. Take them through the
Are they
documents.
that stubborn, or is that a reasonable thing to ask?
It's semi-reasonable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
but
that
it's
bad.
also it's like he says they're stubborn pricks, right?
Yeah.
So the only things you wanna ask them is that the way how you make a decision at the time? Oh yeah, and he's always been working with Ryder. But do you really feel that the equation
It's
of
about-
you getting results out of stuff is because you look for an agreement for 8 hours, or is actually because you were committed to actually get shit done? Because you're not like
Yeah.
what's the sense of that?
Yeah, it's a tough one, especially if you think it's fair enough.
Yes.
If you think it's fair enough, you're gonna
You did.
get into it.
Yeah.
So I think like with that one in particular, like because it is a big investment, it's a done for you. I also think it's probably a little bit fair enough to want to see a contract. It's not a coaching program; it's a paid in full, well, like all that other kind of stuff. So I would have, hey, here's the terms of service.
Yep.
Like let's just get it up and go through it. Even if you have like an antiquated version, like this is a highlight, like highlight certain parts of it that you really want to go through. Don't highlight parts you don't
There's
want to
like
go through.
no guarantees. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there are no guarantees, right?
That's
And that's a really easy thing. People say guarantees. Go, well, how can I guarantee that you don't walk out of your front door tomorrow and get hit by a bus? Right? I can't. There are no guarantees in life. All we can do is put ourselves in the best position possible to be able to achieve the outcome. And that pretty much diffuses every guarantee. You're like, well, yeah, that makes sense.
See, I've got a guy at the moment. He's given us a $5,000 deposit already. He's now come back saying that the contract or the agreement isn't, because there's not enough meat on there that shows exactly what you're going to do. It's very broad. It's very kind of. He's saying that's like I want something more in writing. That's what he's come back a couple of times. I've sent him an email. Look, this is what we do, because I just want to say that I own the store, that I've got. Just going through, things like that. There's not enough in that agreement that I'm confident that you've contractually going to do what you said. That's what he just come back after. He's given $5,000, all ready to go, and that's his own. Will come back in his mind.
Yeah, I think that's those are logistical things that are fair enough.
Yeah.
You've done your part, and Eileen or whoever needs to come back and give something more concrete. A lot of the time, contracts are intentionally vague. Like the people who write the contracts are always going to put the contracts in their favor.
And correct.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of the way it is. Also, for done for you stuff, it's tricky at the best of times anyway. Like it's also with coaching programs, because like at any stage, whenever you offer anything, like whenever we talk about results, people are immediately entitled to 100% refund. Even like at the end of 12-month coaching programs, if they go, oh, somebody at the start told me I would do this, that didn't happen, 100% refund. That's how the government works, right? Like, it's why, like, so terms of service are worthless essentially.
But if you pay an Amex, you get a refund everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Well, that's what you don't want to preempt them. So put on the card, you're protected. You're just going to get a you're just going to get a charge back down.
yeah. If that was me, I would go into the sales call on an investment with the intention to read that contract and fully analyze it before I would pay a deposit, but I wouldn't pay in full the whole amount without thoroughly going through that because it is an ROI based thing. But if you were good enough, you would make me forget that I thought about that and I'd sign up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That there's if you had Marco on there,
Exactly right.
It's just relentlessness. It's just
It's a hard one too. This guy's got his partner. His partner's in the background funding it. And I'm going through a conduit, so that's just another thing altogether.
Yeah.
I had a funny one this morning. A lady saying, "Look, I've done a few of these calls. You sound great," and then
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's
right?
a problem. Yeah.
But I found out that she goes, they all want ownership. They're not giving me ownership. They're all charging 30 to 50%. All these sort of stuff. So now that she goes, that's great. Well, show me, like they showed stores. I went on a present, like we did.
Yeah,
a
but that's
see
the thing.
things.
But that's the thing. So what I would have done, like, well, I mean, the logistic is different for any kind of store. Like, but let's put that aside because that's not really the equation of getting the results. So most of the times, but it's more really understanding really what's the approach that you're having in towards opening a store.
So why would you replicate an unsuccessful strategy?
Right. Just put every.
That's why I said we're different.
Well,
yeah,
if
I
that
don't
didn't
know.
work for you and that wasn't enough to convince you, then why would I do the same?
I said, obviously you've come here, you've been looking,
Yeah.
you would have done something. If it fit your criteria, you would have moved forward, correct? You
Yes.
said, yeah, I would have. You go, okay, well, what aspects didn't you like about it to try to get what you didn't want and then sell against that later on?
No, what I would have done is that I would have attacked that kind of mindset. So I would have done like, okay, so give me an idea. I mean, out of 20, there is always, nothing is perfect in life, right? Would you agree with that? Yes. So out of 20, there is always one that stands out. And I'm not telling you that has to be me, right? But it's really understanding what's the element to get you to 30K. It's not, the vehicle is you pick for it. But at some point, you're going to overwhelm it, which is like looking for more things just because you don't like one thing. So what I'm trying to say is like, what counts most of the times is actually getting done in a proper way because nothing is 100%, like you were saying before.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I guess the right question is like, are you willing to do it at 80%? Because if you're not willing, then I tell you, well, you're looking for perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. So you have a false, like you see the guy there overcome today. You're building a false hope of something that doesn't exist around here.
Yeah, so you basically say you need to be willing when you're doing this research. That the reason that you want to move forward or potential is that it's not nothing's going to tick all your boxes, but what are the main ones that you're wanting? And see if that would you narrow down to that or
I think you're missing the trick. You don't want to have an answer for every objection.
yeah,
Exactly.
You want to have an ability to funnel them into one particular way of thinking.
Yeah.
that's the highlight.
See our
the
last
key
podcast
is-
on this.
The key is the funnel. Like you need to
We did
you need
this.
to push them into one way of doing things.
Yeah.
So
Because
like
you're
with that
trying to
one,
answer
it's
questions.
perspective. It's perfect. Because we all make decisions based on our perspective, right?
You pull them
Bang.
down, so
Right,
you're
right.
hearing all that, and it's just bang, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
if it's mindset, if it's leadership, if it's whatever, like whatever kind of little like twist you can put on it, because it's essentially like it's a fear-based thing. If they've had multiple calls, then they haven't moved forward because of fear. You know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, let's just overcome the fear. Let's get them to do the action. And this is all sales, and this is when sales goes away from like doing a program. It's just doing an action required to get an outcome. That's it. That's all sales is. So it's like the whole, if your whole like mentality is just around like, what do you need to do to get your outcome? And like, that's why the pitch is set up in the way where it gets a lot of buy-in, right? And that's why like we, the way you structure the pillar is like, this is the feature, this is the benefit, this is the specific problem it solves for you, right? If you're struggling with that, there are some things you can do, like you can insert certain like words, right? Like hamster wheel or something like that. You can go like, oh,
Higgity-biggity.
yeah. Well, like let's say someone like, man, I'm struggling to get to the next level. Like, what do you mean the next level? Oh, I really want to get my income from here to here. Okay, and how long have you been trying that? Okay, I've been trying it for 5 years. So it's kind of like you're on a bit of a hamster wheel. Yes. What do you mean when you say you're on a hamster wheel? Right? And then they go, oh, that means this. Then I can attach my pitch. I can say, so what we do to get you from here to here is we do this. The reason why we do that is this, because you know how you said you're on a bit of a hamster wheel? Yeah, well, that's why we do that. So you can make it seem tailored by like putting words into their mouth and then making them justify the words that you put in their mouth.
Yeah.
And then that's how you have like a really tailored pitch that's completely generic.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want to step on this, but I want to give you one thing, and that's super common. It's like a lot of people trying to find an answer to any question. I don't have it. I don't, especially when I do B2B, and he saw that. I don't even know. Sometimes I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about.
When you're selling, yeah, like about the aspect of the sell.
Like I saw the company for Seatbelt. I thought they were doing marketing. I realized that 5 minutes into the last call, I already had 2 calls with them, found the pain points and everything. I have no idea.
Turns
Tell
out,
it they're a marketing company.
Yeah,
turns out they're a German textiles factory.
yeah, it's true. I swear, it's true. But because I'm not trying to, like I'm not trying to find an answer to any question. Probably that is a bad example, but when someone tells you like, I really want one-on-one, well, it's like, why would you, like, realistically, the coach that is going to give you the one-on-one is the one that has time because he has no clients.
Yes, that's right.
Right? So, and it's not that comes from me, logically thinking about it. When I saw you into the NPQ, right, you say, oh, you could probably say, well, I want one-on-one in Germany. You got a group calls anyway, so you got it 80%, right? Same things for him, right? He done the one-on-one with Jeremy. He might have wanted to have an Xbox Access group calls like we do now.
Yeah.
He got it at 60%. It doesn't matter. The important thing is just you do it. You grab 3 or 4 things, you get out of it. I had a chat and a dinner with Gausen and Polton, which are two amazing guys. Man, they done plenty of coaching with everyone. And they got so much of an ROI because they went in, grabbed 3 or 4 things and got them done, put them in the fucking business, right? Now they run, I don't know the entire business, but they got my one, through my structure, the 10K, the remaining investment like 3 weeks out, like 2 weeks after. Why? Because they start booking calls.
It's a good friend for coaches.
Yeah, so when I try to find an overcome objection to someone, I don't have to go that far thinking, okay, what Michael will say or what Steve will say. I was like, okay, but what the fuck, like what are you saying compared to the experience that I had? And what is realistically to say? No? And as just for reiterate, you see me this morning, no? When I was going to come with the guy, I told him, like, listen, man, I know what that means. Burn the house around for it. I just did it.
That's it.
Fucking changed the entire city for no reason and left the family behind it. But I had to do it. I had to fucking do it. I had to do it. It just, there's no doubt in that. But that is what's me on a sales call. When I'm telling you, like, it doesn't matter how much debt you have. Because you can stare at that debt for 10 years. But it matters how you're gonna get out of it. And if you don't find a plan for getting out of it, you're still gonna complain other than money. Like we done 2 months ago. The only things you're gonna have before you were 40, now you're 60. So it's like,
if you're gonna eat shit, don't nibble.
Yeah. But that comes from my own experience, right? When I do like, oh, I need to find money. It's like, no, man, I need to find skills. That's why you see me read a lot, right? It's like, fucking ain't fucking you anymore. I ain't getting back there. Yeah. So I don't have to tell people something so far away from their experience. And that's why the most that we're talking, the successful salespeople that I see are people that you can sell them into fucking everything. Because they got no limitation. You can't sell me into everything. So into everything. Everything. Like, yeah. It's something to everything.
I can't solve it.
Yeah. But it's just like, it's there, but you don't...
Because there's no limitation, because you're going, what can you... You're not in a scarcity.
Exactly, but don't try to... When you overcome the ambition, don't try to find it in someone else. Don't go like, oh, what will friend Matt will say, right? Because that's his own experience. Ireland and stuff like that means something for him anyway. In position that has been, position that I've been, position you've been, position has been. Find your own. When you've been there, and you were about to do it, but you had the same kind of similar objection, but you overcome it. And tell them.
Make it yours. Make it so it's real.
Yeah. So you have like a principle, and then from there you work on the nuance of how to get them.
Yeah.
You know? Like, because all those like reframes and stuff, that was just me trying to figure out how to make everything come off good. Yeah, because I was struggling with the consequence, the tonality, all that kind of stuff. So I was giving people like examples that made it like, oh, I get that now. Because the answers I was getting were really surface level. It was like, what happens if you don't do this over the next 3, 6, or 12 months?
Right.
And they go, well, that would suck. And I go, okay, like that. But then it's like, how do I go, that's not enough. Yeah. So how do I get the detail? You know, so like the next level is like, okay, well that would suck, and be like, okay, well what would suck? And they go, well, I wouldn't be able to do this, and it's like, well, what's the day-to-day ramifications of that? But if you can put it in terms of like a deer and a bear, it's so visual that it makes sense, and they immediately know what I'm trying to get at, and then like they buy into the idea that it's in their benefit to answer the question, which is the only way you'll get the real answer. Because if they're just giving you lip service, it's fucking worthless.
Yeah.
Right? So like they have to understand why the idea benefits them. Which, like, for you and what you're saying at the moment, that's a difficulty.
Yeah.
Those, like, reframe, those analogies, they really help because you're like, if I, you know, do you understand what I mean? Okay, because if you can picture this and this, this is what I mean. You know what I mean? This is why it's in your benefit to actually think this way. And so then they go, oh, okay. And they start telling you the answers. And then from there, you have, like, all these emotional fulcrum points that you can pull from the whole way through.
Yep.
And then with that, like, you find the good one. And a lot of the time, what you'll find is once you go through that, then you'll actually get the real goal. Because they'll say, oh, I want to free up 15 hours. I want to double my income. I want to do this. I want to do this. Then you get to the real goal. And then consequence questions, you go, what happens if that doesn't happen? You go, fuck. I'll never be able to send my kids to college. And you go, ding, ding, ding. Hang on a minute. That's a tangible goal. So now I need to go back up. Well, with what you're doing now, how close are you to being able to get your kids to private school? Right. And they go, fuck, I'm not close to it. Like, why not? How much would that cost? Like, what's going on there? Why private school? Why not just keep them in public school? Well, the public schools here are crap, and they're this and they're this, and like, okay, so you really want your kids to grow up with all the benefits that you didn't have? Okay, man, like, I hate to ask you, but what happens if you don't? Right? And so then we go back through the sequence because we found, like, ding, 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 winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's the goal that is emotionally driving them to push forward, you know? And it just takes you, like, 2 more minutes to go back up, drive it through. Then from there, they're like, fuck, what happens if you don't? It's like, well, then they don't get to go. And you go, yeah, but what happens? They're like, well, they get into the wrong crowd, they do this, they fucking end up not going in, and do this and this and this. And you're like, are you willing to settle for that? No, I'm not. Why not? Yeah. And that's when you start being like, well, you really feel, why not?
Yeah.
So are you going to start fucking doing something about this and actually making a change? You're like, what are you going to do now? And that's when you can really start hammering that authority. Yeah. Then you put yourself in a position that when you, and then you just drop it right back and go, okay, man. And you're super calm and you pitch. And they get this, like, sigh of relief that, oh, okay, they've got it. And that's when you get someone at the end of it going, do you think this is the best move for me? And that's when you know you're really good at sales. Which is when fucking you get the prospect to ask your advice. Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, I would never tell you to do something I didn't think was a good idea.
That's what the guy says.
And that comes across so well because it personifies him in the way that he talks and speaks to people. Right. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come across the same way for you to say it, or him to say it. Right? Like something we mentioned the other day is he changes things to a perspective shift. He changes it to a mindset shift. Because he knows what his strengths are, and they're not the same strengths that Matt has, they're not the same strengths that Jeremy has. Right? And vice versa. So like for you to get to that level, you have to understand what your strengths are, what areas that you're weak in, and then really build the way that you structure that and the way that you say it based off your pure strengths, because that is what you do best and it personifies you. So it comes across as pure, genuine, and that's when you get people asking, is this the best move for me?
So you're bringing your authority and experience into it as an advisor, and it's like as an advisor.
Yeah, if you share, like that's I'm learning from Jordan B. Peterson, right? It's like you're setting up frames for the course. It's like you can start indoctrinating language. Let me see if I can help you. Let's see this from the same side of the table. We both agree that your issue is. No, what I'm concerned for you is. That's another strong frame that I use a lot. Listen, man, we both agree that the issue here is the sales. But what I'm concerned of that you go into that kind of hamster wheel piece, like you were saying, to say, okay, let's see if the marketing works. You close 3 or 4 out of luck, you go all right up, but in 6 months it goes 1. So you're judging 1 month out of 6 months just to create a sense of for sure. So I guess, like, how do you feel about that? And not really good. It's like, okay, well, what would you do though? But just because it's like you're creating that framework, it's like I help you on the same side of the table, and now you feel it. Because I'm not talking out of my ass. Like I'm saying the reality of things, right? I'm stating facts.
Yeah, that's the key to good objection handling too. Is like you take it from an objection, and then you turn it into like a problem that both of you need to solve. Yeah. Because if you're on the same side of the table, it's much easier. Then you don't have to do combative objection handling. And that's why it's like just the talking about it and having some sort of bridge, like the reframe or the mindset or the perspective reframe, like it kind of, it leads you into a conversation instead of like trying to hammer them down with like you're fucking weak. You know what I mean?
What actually is an objection? Right? It's just a mask that the problem that they have hasn't been solved by you yet.
Yeah,
So continue to figure it out. Or that they don't fully believe that that problem has been solved and that you're capable of solving it. Thus, you need to continue the conversation in order to make them believe that that problem has been solved.
Spot on.
Just a limit. It's just that's I found a lot in those group training that we do all together. It's like someone comes in with a limiting belief, right? With a limitation, and they get off with the same limitation. That's your job, man. Like, that's your job. Like it's that job. That's the whole sales it is. Comes in with a limitation, you understand the limitation. With all the bullshit about systems, marketing, that's all fucking irrelevant. I've done a lot of calls, man. And fitness helped me to understand, like, everyone can go to the gym. Everyone can open a business online, everyone can sell. No, that's different, right? Let's put that aside. You have to have a natural behavior for sales. It's buying into your own shit. But everyone can build a business online.
Okay.
If you have something to offer out there. Just the equation of like how much limitation you give to yourself.
Yeah. I think like the best exercise you can do before we wrap up is like listen to your calls and then just like listen to every question and go, what was it trying to do? And could I have done it more eloquently? And then like, you know, because when you ask,
yes already.
like when you ask a question, you're just like, oh, like that one before, it's like, well, you can't do something 100%. It's like, oh, that's an objection now. Like that, that in 20 minutes, it's like, yeah, but like you said, if you can't do it 100%, you're not going to get a result. I can't do this 100% for another 6-12 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're trying to shift the guy's perspective about, well, he can do it 100% when you know he can't. You know what I mean? Or when he really feels he can't. So then that's a much harder shift to make than like, hey, just fucking put in effort.
Yeah.
That's it, you know what I mean?
But it's also just not reality of things. Like I gotta go to the gym like in 20 minutes. Bro, I'm not 100%. Like I'm minus. I still gotta show up. It's the congruency frame in my head. And that's for you as well, right? It's like you gotta get, you know, that's what I meant, that's what I meant. You gotta touch your goal to it, otherwise you're never gonna get it. You're never gonna get over it.